I just had a very interesting session with Nico, who I have coached in the past. And Nico is a personal trainer who's also shifting towards the coaching field. He's been doing the same studies as I've been doing and has a huge interest for spirituality, things like that. He even has other things going on that really have his interest in that whole field. So you should definitely check him out, or his profile. I'll link the episode that we did together up above. And what I love about this conversation is you're going to be watching me coach Nico around a topic that he wasn't fully sure what to be coached on in the beginning. He didn't really know what to be coached on, and you could see that he's trying to move it into his habit of meditations, that he can't really keep that habit up. But what I soon realized was that was not really it. Like, that's not the thing. And instead, I wanted to take the conversation a different direction. And there's going to come a point where I don't really know where to go from here. I honestly was thinking, what direction should we go in? And then the moment that I thought I'm just going to ask Nico, he started talking. And that was the moment that he brings the conversation to a very interesting level where we start talking about something that he really values, and he's getting a beautiful insight around that. So, what are you here for?
What am I here for? I would say I'm always open to getting new perspectives on life,
Mhm.
whether that's with goals I have for myself or just thoughts on spirituality. I'm open to anything, but I would say I'm here for maybe some perspectives and clarity on some stuff.
Cool. What would you like clarity on?
Um, Maybe clarity isn't the best word because recently I've gotten quite proud of myself on how much progress I've gained on gaining clarity actually for
Mm.
my own life. So, and that's just in regards to my goals and my vision I have for myself. So I would say I've gotten really clear on my vision for my life, which I was already clear on, but I had resistance towards certain things I was working towards.
Right.
I didn't know why. So, I guess I'm always looking for more clarity on ways to, connect more with myself, whether that's through meditation, because I do struggle to this day with a consistent meditation practice. And
Mm.
I know that's important because one of the things that I would say have been struggling with is I almost am self-aware enough to notice when I have like this flow about me. I don't know if you can relate to that at all. When you're like, flow for me feels like I'm in a good mood and it feels like I'm getting these like ideas. And for a while, it was just like, oh, maybe I'm just getting ideas for my goals or my visions just on my own. But there was a week straight. I would say it was like 5 days straight, which happened 2 weeks ago,
Hmm.
where it was like, okay, hold on, like this is like it almost felt like I'm like channeling ideas. Does that like
Okay.
resonate at
Yeah.
all with you?
Yeah. I know what you mean. Of course.
Right. So that was an amazing feeling. And of course, like the first thought when I realized that is like, I hope it lasts, right? Which is not good because then like I'm already putting myself in the headspace that I'm gonna lose that.
Right.
And I did. But it's all right because I'm working on getting that back. But I don't know. Do you have
Well,
any
was that, yeah, was that related to your vision in any way? Like, you said that you got clarity on your vision, and then you
yeah.
said that you were moving in this flow type of state.
Yeah.
Were those happening at the same time?
Yeah, it was totally related to my vision
Mm.
because you know from the past that like I kind of struggle with putting myself out there, whether it's on social media or just talking to people,
Yeah.
uh, strangers or whatever. So yeah, that week it was like it was pretty sweet, man, because it was like I was getting these ideas for like social media posts, and not only this is what was cool was I wasn't only getting the ideas, but I was acting on them and I was, typing stuff out. I filmed
Right.
videos. I got all the way up to editing videos, and I've also now worked on the other clarity that came from these downloads was I just this whole process of like turning the idea into a finished product and
Mm,
then planning them out. So I'm at a point now of like planning out the social media posts.
right.
So that's how it is relation to my vision.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also been just
I'm curious about
ideas
the
for
vision,
social
actually.
media. What were you gonna say?
I'm curious about the vision. You want to tell me a bit more? What's your
Oh,
vision?
the vision. Yeah. My vision is to just make the most amount of impact as I can. And that could look like a lot of different ways for me since I
Yeah.
already work with personal training clients in person. So it's like, yeah, sure, I make an impact every day through that. But I'm at a point where I'm like, I feel like my soul or my higher self just like pulling me to make like a massive impact. So how that looks then is reaching the most amount of people on social media. So that's a little more towards my vision of like, how do I reach the most amount of people on social media?
I love the admiration of that, like the whole thing of most amount of people. I like it's a vague thing, this sentence, to be honest. It's very
Right,
vague.
right.
So I love the intention that you already have behind it. Um, the thing that makes it a bit vague is that I'm not sure what you mean by impact. What does that signify to you?
To me, that is helping people with things I've struggled with, but
Mm,
also too just like because like since an empathetic person and really in tune with myself, it's a blessing and a curse because I'll go out in public or something to a restaurant or a grocery store and I could like maybe we've talked about this before. I could feel like just like the pain radiating it off of
right.
people and just like you can almost it's not judgment but it's like I could feel like uh someone's hurt coming off of their
Yeah.
aura almost. I don't even know how to describe it. So I don't know where I was going with that, but I would say when what you said how I
The
want to
impact.
create impact, it's by just kind of snapping people out of like autopilot. We've
Mm.
like and showing
Is that
people that
something that
there's
you used to
more
struggle with?
to life. Say again.
Because that's what you used to struggle with, being an autopilot, not realizing that there's
Yeah,
much
right.
more.
Yeah, just helping people get off autopilot and be more self-aware and realize too that like there's a life outside of a 9 to 5 job because again these are things I'm passionate about. So there's a lot of people and I know this because I've talked to people, whether it's people I didn't know or family or friends. It's like they like limit themselves on the things that they can actually do. So that's where I want to make impact on.
Mm.
There's a
So when
lot of
I'm
areas. I've narrowed it down because again, like I've gotten real good clarity these last few weeks, and I've narrowed it down to like 5 different things or 4 different things,
okay.
which is basically like dharma, life purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So like total like vision for
Mm-hmm.
someone's life, because a lot of people don't even have a purpose in their mind.
Right.
I would say that's the first one. Second one is like manifestation. Third one
Right.
is general spiritual awakening. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things can fall under that. A lot of things can fall under each of those. But
Right.
and then fourth one, health and fitness.
So I notice a contradiction between how clear you are in your mind about what it is, but then when I asked you about what your vision was, you and I'm just going to say it very bluntly, you came up with this vague sentence of I want to help the most amount of people uh,
Mhm.
by creating an impact, which is like, okay, how many people? What's an impact? What does helping mean? Um,
Mhm.
but then when I hear you talk about it, it's like, okay, yeah, you have this clarity on like the way that you want to do it. You've got these terms or like these things that you used to struggle with in the past that you're now trying to get people over with. I think I think the clarity for you is a bit buried in a way.
Okay.
Does that resonate in any way?
It does, yeah. And I would say like I'm a little bit unclear too, like by my vision, like what exactly you mean. Because of course my vision is about me too, but it sounds egotistical, but like my vision for myself is to have freedom. We've talked about this. So that I know my vision is to be able to go wherever I want when I want, and part of that vision though is helping people. So I would say, to try and clarify it a little more, of course there's certain um types of people that I know from experience that I help the best, just through clients I've already worked with, whether it's personal training or some coaching calls I've done. So I have an idea of like who it should be, but there's also a part of me too that, like, I don't even care. I just want to impact like as much people as I can. I don't know if that makes sense at all.
Right. It does. What I sense, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that, and yeah, vision is a vague term. We just went with it because it came up, and because we both know sort of what we mean with it, and it's in the same context. But sometimes the reason why we're stuck, or the reason why we can't continue, or the reason why we just like bail on something, is because the why is not big enough. That's usually the thing, and you know that too, right? And a good why often comes from a good vision, or the other way around. I feel like they're quite related, or at least you can figure out one from the other in a way. And what I'm hearing you say, and I wrote the word down even before you had said it in the conversation. I wrote that freedom word down because everything that you were saying was pointing at helping people just with freedom, whether that's free to be themselves or free to do whatever the fuck they want. It's that freedom portion, and that is the thing that that if I may assume that you struggle with in the past too.
Right.
How does it sound to you that you're going to be impacting the most amount of people by helping them live a more free life? Is that something that resonates? Is that something that has crossed your mind in that way of saying it?
It does. Yeah, definitely does. Because it relates to my goals for myself.
Right.
I mean, there's multiple things that I think of when like how I would help someone, and that's one of them for sure. Is like the freedom, like for me, but also, like I think I mentioned earlier, just general clarity on, I know that word keeps coming up, but clarity
Mhm.
on like someone's purpose for themselves, because I get really sad when I talk to someone and they're just kind of going about life without a deeper purpose for themselves or something they're working towards.
Right. Do you feel like you have that?
I do. I I always have it, or not, I haven't always had it, but going forward from my spiritual awakening in 2019, I've always had it, but it does get a little bit blurry at times due to like limiting beliefs and stuff like that. So it's
Yeah.
always there, but I'm working on keeping it focused and clear 100% of the time, if that's even possible.
How about the freedom? Is that the same?
The same as what?
Well, do you feel free?
Right now, no.
Mm,
To a certain extent, I do, but not to where I want to feel.
right. So what does that even? What would that mean to you? Freedom.
It's the travel for me. I'm just
Mm.
it's just my biggest passion is seeing new places and meeting new people. So I would say, like I said, I live a pretty free life right now. I'm very happy with my current work schedule because it's not a 9 to 5. Like I do have like half days sometimes, often actually. So that allows me the time to work on other goals I have. So I'm thankful for that. And I have time to work on myself, whether that's exercise or spirituality and stuff like that. But yeah, as far as the travel is the biggest thing for me, which I don't. I've taken trips and I have more that I will take. I'm thankful for that,
Mhm.
but I don't know. It's like a drug, which
Yeah,
is,
I know.
and I am mindful too. You probably know, yeah. I am mindful too because I've actually sat with myself before, and I make really sure that the travel thing for me is not because I'm like running from something. Because for a while I'm like,
Mm,
is it like because I'm running from something, And I don't think that at all. It's just there's a feeling I get when I see a different culture or different landscapes, different people.
yeah, I know what you mean.
I feel
I get
most alive. I don't know if that
that.
resonates
Mm,
with you when I travel.
right.
I just feel the most alive.
I love that. You know what's funny, and that this is because for anyone who's listening, I have coached you in the past, and you're like honestly really my type of people, right? I love working with people who know that that freedom is possible, who really value to travel,
Mhm.
who value that doing whatever they want. So I can absolutely relate to you, like, because this is me. I know what you mean. Like I
Yeah.
feel alive when I travel too, and I can't even count how many times people have asked me, "Don't you feel like you're running from something?" When I went from country to country, I'm like, no, like no,
Yeah.
this is just amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really resonate with you on that. Um, what's interesting though is that, and that's something that I noticed for myself, is that that whole freedom aspect. Um, the reason why we love travel so much, and I'm gonna say we, and I'm purely really assuming everything I'm gonna say right now, but whatever.
Hmm.
The reason why we love travel so much is because when we're traveling, it's our time to let go of who we thought we were, let go of all the obligations and all the labels
Yes.
that we gave ourselves.
Yes. Exactly.
Elaborate. What comes to you?
Yeah. No, you're exactly right because that's the issue that I've found with people I've met is like, did you say the word labels already?
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Because that's the best word to describe it is like, even right now, like I love what I do, but I'm like, I'm Nico, I'm a personal trainer and I'm this and that. And like, there's times where like it's true, but it's like, it puts yourself like in a box almost like when you do that. Cause it's like, if I'm a personal trainer, then I'm not this and not that. So that resonates a lot for sure because it helps you to like not identify with anything,
Right.
and at any given day or whatever you can do something different and not even identify with a job, but not even identify with like certain habits or daily things you're doing.
Yeah. To me, the most interesting thing about that is that you could do that right now already at home.
And I'm starting to. I don't know if you saw that one post I did,
Oh, I
where
didn't know.
yeah, there was one weekend. What is today? It was 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, where I'm like, let me just go stay in the city in
Ah,
Chicago,
yeah, I saw
near
that.
me. So I think that actually, there's actually a part of me that thinks that, because remember I just said that was 3 weeks ago, and then it was 2 weeks ago where I had that really motivated
Mm,
channeling is what I called it. I think that really helped triggered it, to be honest.
mm,
Just going to my nearest city and just like sleeping in a different bed,
yeah.
like literally.
So what
Is that
what
what you
sparks
meant
to
by
me,
that?
that is what I meant by that.
Okay.
However, um, you don't even have to take it that far.
Just
Like,
from home, you're saying?
right, because
Yeah.
the
Okay.
freedom doesn't, or for me, and probably for you too, then, is that
Hmm.
that freedom indeed comes with just being able to be the version of yourself that you'd like to be at that moment. That's why we travel. It's a clean slate. We can just do whatever we want, and there's no one who's gonna think weirdly about that because they don't have any previous beliefs about us. Um, when in fact the only one who has previous beliefs is us.
Yeah.
And what I noticed you say in the beginning is that for you it came up again, that trouble to post things, the trouble to put yourself out there, you said.
Yeah.
I believe those two are definitely related, right? The freedom to be able to just be who you want to be, but you're preventing yourself from being that version.
Yeah. Yeah, I do agree with that. I think it's something I'm working on towards too as well, is just being more authentic in general.
Hmm.
hmm Um, it's a good insight for sure. Makes me think for sure because yeah, I think it's true.
So who's that real Nico at this moment? Who's the guy that you'd like to show to the world?
Um, I've always, because I journal about this, I identify like my higher self, like the person I'm working towards, as definitely not, you know, presenting myself in a way that is confident and knowledgeable, filled with wisdom, um, and is able to motivate or inspire people with just like one conversation, whether that's a 5 minute conversation or a 2 hour conversation.
Hmm. Is that you already?
I'm getting close. I will say that because I've
Hmm.
been working at this for actually a few years. And yeah, it's not fully me yet, but I'm like,
Where's
I
the
feel,
difference?
what's that?
Where's the difference?
The difference is I would say the confidence thing, and then
Hmm.
uh, like that imposter syndrome a little bit. And
Right.
what else? I shouldn't say this, but like a part of me thinks the difference is also not actually living the life that I want to
Right.
portray. But that's not good because I know that like I don't need to be living the life to uh, have that confidence. But
Well, you don't know then.
what's that?
Well, if you'd known, you wouldn't have said this, right?
Right, right, yeah. So, and
Thanks for mentioning it.
yeah, yeah. But I know because like when I am traveling, it's funny because when I am traveling, if I'm gonna create content or something like that, it comes way more natural to me. And I don't know what that's
Right.
about. It could be just because of the confidence thing, or just because literally I feel more alive. Like literally,
Hmm.
I
That
think that's what
resonates with
it
me
is.
too.
Yeah,
That I'm not sure in which category that falls, and I don't think there is a need to label that. But I do agree with you. Whenever I travel, I'm so inspired because everything is new, right?
yeah,
Suddenly everything is so that's just I can't explain. I don't know.
yeah.
That's just
Right,
fine.
right.
See what I love about that is that what you said. Two things that stood out to me because you mentioned that you're working towards that more confident version of you to
hmm
be that more knowledgeable version. All of that before you could be fully free to be yourself, right? So it's
Yeah,
like or like how I would summarize the conversation and the things that you've said and what it actually comes down to is that it was like, okay, I want to be free to be myself, but before I do that, I just have
yeah,
to be a bit more confident, a bit more knowledgeable, a bit more wise, a bit more able to motivate and inspire other people,
yeah,
which is interesting because um, you don't actually.
yeah. Right.
You can just be the Nico who, well, the only thing that you feel like you were lacking was the confidence. Well, that's great because that means that you can be the Nico who isn't as confident as he'd like to be, who's knowledgeable, who's wise and aware of that, who is
Oh,
by even being aware of that and by even not being as confident as he's like to be, to inspire and motivate other people.
yeah. Yeah, I like what you just said about how like that's knowledge and wisdom on its own is just having awareness of myself. You know, that's huge. Mhm.
I saw your eyes squint. Was there a question that came to you? Was there anything you
Oh
wanted
no,
to say?
I was gonna laugh and be like, you're gonna make me talk, aren't you?
No, I'm not. See,
I was just messing with you, but yeah,
yeah,
that's a yeah. That can be knowledge on its own is like just self-awareness on its own is like already knowledge.
right.
That's like because they say how like you can not that's not I don't want to say that's what they say because this is what I've learned is like if you are having a problem within yourself, like if you have self-awareness of it already, that's like the first step. Sometimes it's the only step too.
That it's the only step.
Yeah.
Because what the second thing I wanted to touch upon was that you said that you were working towards this, but this is actually the place that you can come from. There's no need to work towards being that authentic Nico, because you can already come from this place, and that's already the whole confidence, the whole knowledge, the whole wisdom, everything that you just mentioned.
Hmm. I'm from it. Like, can you clarify that a little bit? I think I
Well,
know what you mean, but
sometimes we're working towards something, some version of ourselves, and we can't see that the only reason we're working towards that is because it's already inside it. We just can't accept it yet,
damn,
right?
yeah, that's legit. Yeah, yeah, that's good. Yeah, because like, how else will we know it?
Right, right. So with that insight, how do you feel like your tomorrow is going to be different?
I like the idea of because yeah, first you said come, you know, we're trying to get to, but we're coming. You can come from. So when you first said that the first time before I asked for more clarity, how
Hmm.
I it was like when you said from, I thought like from like pulling, like I
Mm,
visualized it as like pulling. So I'm like pulling the information from the higher self, but I already have
right.
it in a way within me. So yeah, how it would change would be I'm trying to think of like actionable ways I can implement that in my life.
I mean, I'm not necessarily thinking it has to be actionable. Um, Even to hold something like this in the back of your mind, knowing that the actions that you're going to take, like this is one of those insights that are going to probably make even more sense in 3 weeks from now, right?
Right.
When
Yeah.
you've gone through this and then something happens and you're like, oh fuck, that's what Mick said. Now I'm at that point where I'm like, oh indeed, I'm already good enough. Like I'm already,
Yeah.
I'm as confident as that version that I thought I had to be, but I
That's
already
true.
was that
That's
version.
true. Yeah.
Um, so I love that. I think that's cool.
Yeah. I love that too. That really is something to think about. I will be thinking about that for sure.
Mm.
The rest of today, at least.
I I enjoyed this conversation. Thanks for being willing to do this with me, being
Of
open
course.
to
Hmm. Of
share your vulnerability.
course.
Anything that you wanted to say or ask or do to round it off?
Um, I don't think so. Like nothing comes up right now.
Mm, cool. Perfect. So at this moment, I finished the recording and actually we continued the conversation and something interesting came up that was even more interesting than what we talked about. I took the insight a little level deeper because what we started to talk about was that in like that value around freedom that Nico really has and this striving towards doing better. And he was saying how he was reading books and he was striving towards being his highest self and things like that. And what I told him, it was just one simple sentence, and for some reason it popped up and it made both of us laugh. And it really made his insight sink deeper because I told him, Nico, get off the self-help journey. And it's interesting because the conversation went to that direction where, yeah, we talked about how sometimes being on this self-help journey and thinking that you got to be better, there is a dark side to that. Yes, spirituality is going to bring you so far, and the self-help journey is incredible. However, only to a certain point, because the actual power is already in you. It's about being authentic, and not being authentic as in, oh, look at me, I'm so authentic. No, being authentic in the way where this is just who I am. I don't need to be any different. I don't need to be any better. There is great power in being able to own who you are with all the things that you don't like about yourself. And I thought that was interesting, and I wanted to put that little message at the end of this podcast episode because I thought it was a beautiful conversation, but we took the insight even a step further. And I'm sorry that that's not on camera, but I loved adding it right here. I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe to my channel if you want more, because I'm going to be coaching everyone from the first season of the podcast. So stay tuned for that.